The history of the Irish mob includes a fair number of criminal visionaries, men and women who might have done well for themselves if they had applied their skills to more legally acceptable modes of commerce. The Irish mob stretched into the legitimate world, more than most underworld fraternities, entangling the fortunes of untold policemen, federal agents, union men, political figures, and at least one prominent tycoon whose lifelong dalliance with the underworld changed the course of U.S. history. Over the decades, much hot air and ink has been expended in the media's attempt to understand why the rise and fall of the gangster has remained such an enduring myth throughout the country's history. Certainly, part of the attraction is the way in which the underworld has become a metaphor for American capitalism. Anyone who has tried to get ahead and make a living in the United States, from the lowliest street vendor to the most powerful corporate CEO, recognizes the brutal, dog-eat-dog reality of the American dream. Some fantasize about taking matters into their own hands. In defiance of the laws and mores of polite society, the gangster does just that. In fact, everything about the gangster's life is a rebuke to the mundane, everyday life of the solid citizen. He lives in the moment, pursues immediate gratification with reckless abandon, and revels in his own narcissism like a slophouse pig. The gangster lives according to his own rules, as if he were judge, jury, and executioner, as if he were God. There must be a little something of the suppressed gangster in the imagination of many people, given the prominence of gangster lore in popular culture. This tradition far precedes the most recent cinematic incarnations. From the days of the earliest newspapers and photographs to the present, Americans have exhibited a fascination and identification with the dark recesses of American commerce. The American mobster, as we perceive him today, violent, impulsive, disreputable, often irredeemable, is tethered to the earliest days of the Irish immigration experience, when the mob was born out of starvation, disease, desperation, and bigotry. Over the last century and a half, men and women of innumerable ethnicities and social backgrounds have taken a bite of the apple, from the lowest criminal to the most esteemed members of society. But for sheer audacity and reckless ambition, few plied their trade with as much staying power or as much panache as the originator, the Irish-American gangster.